morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone around the world. I'm Paul Sisler, and this is In the Moment. Today on the flow, we have Shadow Fox, and Shadow Fox is going to be changing the narrative. She's going to be offering a new perspective to a two-sided argument, and basically, it involves freedom and free will. And some of the things that we're going to talk about, there's a lot of arguments on both sides of the aisle. So this is about trying to end this argument. And I'm going to read part of the Constitution and all that for the request of Shadow Fox and give some insight to some things. The intro to the Constitution says, "We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States." And the reason why I wanted to bring this part into it is because of a few words. The first word is tranquility. And that's the quality of state or being, calm, peaceful. And it's to what I just read said, ensure domestic tranquility. So that would be the calm of the people of this country, the peacefulness of the people of this country. And then the other word was liberty, okay? And secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. And when you define liberty, it's a state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life, behavior, or political views. Now, again, I bring this up because the topic that Shadow Fox is going to delve into is a very, very controversial one in the United States. And I'm basically going to let her explain everything that she wants to get out there for understanding. Like I said, she's going to change the narrative. So here you go. Hello, Shadow Fox. How are you today?
Oh, hello. Oh, I'm really like, this is like something that is really near and dear to my heart. And thank you for bringing those points up with tranquility and liberty. I believe that this is a very strong format in every capacity. And one of the things, Paul, that I'd like to bring to light, perhaps very quickly, you could make a mention of about our First Amendment right.
Yes. Our First Amendment, and again, let me bring it here. I'll just read it directly from the Constitution.
You don't have to read the whole thing.
Okay, well, I'm going to, you know me. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Keyword being peaceable.
Exactly. So we have peace again, and the part of religion. Um, where I'd like to really focus, if you guys have not kind of gotten the idea of what this topic is going to be, it is going to be based upon the friction that is dividing our country. Like the United States, we are now what? The divided states. The aspect of the issue with the abortion. Now, allow me to preface this before everybody jumps off ship. This is not, I am not going to bring to bear either one side or the other. What I am going to speak upon and tie in is this an expanded view, okay, to this issue, because honestly, everybody's opposed, either for it or against it. And so what happens is it creates tension, creates discord. Where's the tranquility? Do you see tranquility in the United States? No. And so this topic, in the way that I am going to be presenting it, may be the very first time you have ever heard it disclosed this way. Um, and so I just, you may be triggered a little bit, and that's okay. I'm not here to change anybody's mind on any specific belief in any capacity. As far as religion goes, this is why I asked Paul to speak on that First Amendment, because we're all, gung ho on free speech and everything else. But the larger picture is the freedom to religion. And quite honestly, just because someone is um, indoctrinated and follows the theology of a religious structure, that's fine. Go for it. But do not put your personal views or beliefs upon a nation, upon someone else, because what I'm going to express in this segment is going to be that of the broadness of this, because so many people have their political views and freedom and all of this. Well, freedom is being really stepped upon, because if I don't have the freedom to believe the way I do and incorporate and help those whom I serve, then you're stepping on my First Amendment rights. And there's only two sides, right? When does life begin? Well, so far, and it's creating a whole bunch of tension, is, well, it's at conception, or the heartbeat. Is it? There's a question here that has not been answered yet. Can anybody guess what it is? When does the soul enter the physical body? And everybody's going to say, oh, it's based on this, it's that, with a heartbeat and everything else. And, I'm sorry to say, but even science doesn't agree with that. But then again, you'd have to give some credence to science, right? But so even if you look at the Bible, in Genesis, oh, well, Creator God stated, let there be light, and there was. So sound came first, then light, and then matter. Well, so how do we answer that? How do we answer that question? Why would it even be important? Because if there's an understanding, if we can bring something forward that discharges and stops some of this tension that is between what's going on. I mean, really, this is where it is. I'm looking at presenting a little bit of tranquility, right? Wasn't that in the the preamble? Is that what it is? Oh, tranquility. I'd like to live in a peaceful environment. Um, so everyone has this blessing, right? That's even in that part, is the blessing of liberty. And what was liberty again, Paul? What was liberty again?
Liberty is the state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life, behavior, or political views.
So there you go. Now, does this answer all the questions? No. Am I here to say, hey, you got to believe it this way? Because if I were to do that, I'd be in the same position that many of these states are enacting these laws for. So the major component is not like, oh, is it a sin to do this? Is it this? Is it that? When we take a look at, and here is where some of the messaging that I'd like to bring forward with, is that when we look at free will, oh, what is free will? What is freedom? What is that? What does that mean to us? This is an alien right that we were given from Creator, from Allah, from God from the gods, from an omnipresence or architect, however you would like to see it. It is written in our DNA. It truly is. What is the fastest way to incite someone is to take that liberty, take that freedom away, the free will. Free will is a law. Oh my. How many, if you were to take a look, even in the Bible and Google it, how many times in the Bible is free will mentioned? And so if Creator has given us free will, who among any one of us can stand before another and take that alien right away? Who are you, judge, jury, and executioner? This is where, if we can start to just think a little bit, just bring it forward and say, wait a second, yeah, I, I have every right to believe that, we shouldn't have an abortion. And yet, I can also think, hmm, somebody has a choice. But without free will, no one has a choice. And I will say, even on the side of pro-choice, right? They're saying choice. It's so much more to the very core of who all of us are. And we're saying choice? Wow. Free will, guys. Here's make a note. It's free will. And so on either side, it makes no difference. Free will is one of the components for why prayer was ever invented in the first place. What does free will actually mean? Free will is, therefore, we have the alien right to make a choice. We can choose under which energy, which octave, which vibration, happy, sad. We choose to live within liberty. Okay, here's that word again. Where is tranquility? So the one thing with free will is that everybody gets to have it, but we cannot impose our will, our beliefs, our deeds, and our actions upon another without, here we go, permissions, accountability, responsibility, karma, that from an individual to nations. That's what the law is. This is why we have prayer, because we ask for permission, right? Can please help us? Can you please take care of this for me? Oh my. So with this, in this general scheme of thing, when we take a look at and bring it all together, and we look at how energy flows and works, why would I mention at all Genesis? Why? Because science has even declared the first components are sound, light, and matter. So that would answer a question as how or when, more like when, does a soul enter a physical body? It is upon the breath. It is upon the breath, the sound, the actual soul has already been initiated. It's just when the soul enters the body, it's upon breath, and it starts to anchor on sound. Upon sound, the light therefore enters the physical body of matter. Sound, light, matter. It is the cry. You ever think about this? When a child is born, whether you're a parent or not, maybe you are helping deliver the child, what is the very first thing we all look for? We all listen for? It is the cry. It is the song. It is the song from that child to the universe that I have arrived. Hello. So when we're taking a look at, is this child, is it viable? Is it not? We're not a viable entity even up until the age of 7. That's when the soul makes that full connection at the age of 7. And it's been stated, this is when we kind of have a consciousness, like for right or wrong, lying, we kind of get the gist of it. So if we have an understanding, and bring, when does the soul enter the body? Because this is not being discussed. Okay, now is this my religious belief in science? Yeah, it is. Am I forcing it upon someone? No, I'm not. And each and every single one of you have that authority to continue to choose to believe the way you choose to believe, but do not force it upon another. This is where we have friction. This is why we have discord, because it's my way or the highway. What happened to free will? How many times and how far has even within the United States we've gone to war to fight for freedoms, but yet there's a very strong thing here because oh my goodness, free will. But you're not going to allow someone the choice for their own free will and how they're going to express or live their life. I mean, if you really think about it, you may be on the side for not having an abortion and you're rah rah sis kumbah. Hmm, is that love? Is that love for another human being that you know far more than that individual that you're probably never ever going to meet in a million years? And yet you're going to mandate how they're going to find their own expression through their experience? Who are you to rob them of that? Good, bad, or indifferent. So I'm just making points. I'm just putting points out here. That's all I'm doing. But so the major point is the freedoms. How many people have died at war to stand up for our freedoms? And yet, because of a belief, oh, how does that resonate? How does that really feel? Is there peace? Is there tranquility? Is there harmony in that? So if there's something that is creating discord, the universe is kind of telling you to take another look at something because something's out of balance, something's out of whack. Because the universe is always, 100%, 1,000%, for infinity, it is going to be within balance and harmony and flow. Period. And when it is not, and when we have discord, maybe it's time to rethink something. I'm only trying to change a narrative. I am neither for nor against it, but I am 100% stand behind somebody's right for free will. Why? Because Creator designed it that way. It's in our DNA. Paul? I mean, at this point in time, this is something where I can become very passionate about. And even within the political scope, because right now, what I'm expressing right here and right now, it's not in major media, it's not in newspapers, it's not on talk shows, except this one. People would not really believe how many people this truly resonates with, and they're like, wow, I never thought of it that way. But you know, again, Creator designed it. Creator already gave children a voice, and it is upon sound, their sound. So who has to fight for something like that? Now, am I creating? Am I creating a little nibble, nibble, nibble? Probably. Can we hear a lot of feedback on this? Sure, absolutely. But you know what? I'm not here to debate anybody. I'm just here to show that there is another way to take a look at it. It's that middle ground, right? It is the way of Christ. The middle path, that's it. Wow. How can we step into that middle path unless we challenge our own personal beliefs within a certain arena? If you're on the side of pro-choice or pro-life, how about pro-birth? I think, quite honestly, when you really come right down to it, is that not more of a resonance for the mandate for what is being cast upon the United States at this point in time? It's not. It truly is not. Life. What is life? Oh, tranquility, liberty. Oh, arts, science, singing. Really? What is life? Food, education, medical. So it's like where are these things going? How does this resonate? It does not. Checks and balances are not setting up to the laws of nature, the laws of the universe. We're trying, but until this narrative starts to change a little bit, until this discussion can start to come forward a little bit and not get ego incited, nothing's going to change. And we're going to have friction. And we're going to have to repeat this whole thing all over again. And all this we're doing, Paul, we're just offering a different narrative. This is something, even within the government, really, we're going to make laws that literally take free will away from somebody, but yet we are so inclined to that freedom of here, for getting a vaccination or a jab. I'd like the free will not to choose, or I'd like to choose to wear a mask or not wear a mask. Or if, say, you're not vaccinated and maybe somebody may have a health issue and so they put on a mask and then they're belittled for that, that's love. That's honoring another one. Why does everybody have to be so angry? Why? Because we're stepping on an ego? We're stepping on a belief? I'm just putting little ideas out here. How does it fit in? Where's the checks and balances? Go ahead, Paul. I'm going to for a minute because I know you're sitting there. It's like, oh no, what's he talking about?
Well, no, there's a lot of things and all that, again, it's everybody has the right to choose a belief system. Okay. Everyone has that right. It goes back to free will. You have that right to choose. And when someone throws a constraint on what you want to do, and deny you the right to act on your own discretion, then that's taking away your free will. But now you also have to look at when you're utilizing your free will, is it taking away someone else's free will?
Exactly.
Okay. So when you're doing things and you're saying, well, it's my free will because I have the freedom of speech to say what I want, to do what I want, when I want to do it, which isn't actually how that works. It's more of a legal aspect, but that's for another discussion another day. When you are imposing that you have these rights and you use these rights to oppress somebody else's rights, what are you really utilizing? I want you to think about that. When you say that you have the right to do this or to say this, but somebody else does not,
is that a hypocrite?
That's you now taking away somebody else's right
that
you cherish, that you say is yours. So with your free will and with your freedom of speech and your own necessity to have tranquility and liberty, you have to look at what you say and what you do to not take away another's.
Okay. Paul, when we speak about it, and when you're looking at that freedom of religion, for instance, it also means freedom from no religion.
Right.
In all actuality, I have to respect, your decision for what resonates in how you get along in this world of being an atheist. So,
right.
So where does an atheist fit in to this big picture. And it's like there's theologies and dogma and all of this stuff that comes forward. But I'm sorry, I do not care to be regulated and governed by someone else's religion.
Right.
Plain and simple. I
Right.
mean, I was born in the United States, and you know what? That, according to the Constitution, is my right. But so right now, is the Constitution truly in jeopardy for those who are willing to fight against it?
Right.
Okay?
One of
That's where my concern is. It truly is.
right. Well, one of the things that you're bringing up that I want to try to illustrate here is that we have the freedoms to do these things. We have the freedoms to say these things. The reason why we are supposed to have laws, the reason why we're supposed to have consequences to actions, isn't to oppress people. That's not supposed to be the purpose of laws. Purpose of law is not to oppress people. The purpose of laws is supposed to be holding people accountable who oppress and take away other people's rights.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I have the right to live. If somebody is going to try to take my life, they're imposing upon my freedom of life and my free will to live. Okay. So now they have to be held accountable. And that's where when you are trying to take away somebody else's right, you are risking then your own free right to free will and freedom of speech.
There's so much more. It's like we may have this idea, and again, we all like to look at little baby and how beautiful and cute and everything else. I mean, we could even go so far. I mean, my parents always said, well, if you have a belief, then put your money where your mouth is. Put the money where the belief is. And if this is something on one side or the other, if it's something you truly, truly believe in and are immovable, the thing is us as a species can be very adaptable.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a mechanism being with energy for us to find understanding. And it's understanding for ourselves, our family, and for other people in the world. And when we come forward, I mean, there's a couple of different ways we can look at how we could be stepping on somebody else's free will. And I'm not saying choice, because without free will, there is no choice, period.
Right.
This is why it is a bigger component than just, pro choice, right? It's like pro will.
Well, this
No, wait, Paul. So if we think about this, I'm sorry, I did get distracted for a moment.
Oh, that's all right.
If we take a look at this, it would be like you're having, you've got a garden, and you've got it just laid out perfectly, and you like what you have in there, and guess what? That garden may very well be nothing but weeds that are used for tinctures, for medical I can't say the word.
Homeopathic.
Thank you. My tongue was tied. And so someone else comes into your backyard and starts yanking them out because they have a view or impression of what that garden to them should look like. And so they're coming over into your yard and yanking out all your weeds. Or you're having a barbecue and the neighbor next door comes over and says, "Oh, no. This is not how you're going to run your barbecue, okay? I'm going to tell you the way it is because I like beer and a barbecue of chicken and mac salad." But you're not offering that. You're offering seafood, and you're also offering some wine. But the neighbor comes in and says and mandates, "Oh no, this is how it should be." Does that not make for a very rude house guest?
Oh, most definitely. And
Well, is that not the exact same thing If somebody has something very personal within their own life that some
Right.
stranger comes in and is going to exactly start pulling the weeds out, my grandmother used to say, tend to your own garden, mind your own beeswax, fix your own life, tend to
Right.
that, mow your own lawn. So these are, when we take a look at this the scope in being a good neighbor or loving your neighbor as
Love
yourself.
thy neighbor.
Well, how does that stack up? Where's the checks and balances for that? If we're looking at instilling these abortion bans, just think of that. How does this stack up? How vile does this really feel? And this is why there's so much contention, because something just isn't quite in balance. It just isn't right, and this dialogue and arguing and fighting is going to continue, period,
I know.
until we can look at something in another light.
Well, and here's where it comes back to free will. Okay. When your pro-lifers are saying you have no choice, you must carry. They're saying you have no free will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly.
Pro-choice is saying you get to choose if you want to or don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
You have the free will to choose how you want to go. I'm not impeding upon those that want to say, hey, you're pregnant, you have to carry it all the way through. That's your choice to do so.
But
So
Paul,
that's
does this not? I'm sorry, but does this not really come in even into an economic aspect?
well,
Who's going to pay for it? I mean, I just don't understand. It's like the other. Here's another option. I mean, there's people that believe that the world's overpopulated. So should we step in and start mandating that all men have vasectomies for the next 10 years, 20 years? And completely skip a generation? I mean, how would somebody feel if some government or corporation came in and started saying that? This
right.
is why there's so much discord. When sometimes I really question. It's like, and I'm not neither for nor against, okay, but when it comes in and says, big government, get out. Well, I'd like little government to get out. I mean, especially into women's. Let's get vulgar here, but stay out of our hooches. I mean, really, what difference does it make to anybody else? Like I said, stay out of somebody's garden. It just makes for a good neighbor. And it's like we can get all fired up about this because it triggers the belief systems, and it triggers those egos. And when those are triggered, and even looking stepping into that a little bit of that stoicism, it's if those who choose to govern others, whether it be by mandate, man, and then date, mandate, okay, old, stale, stagnant energy, all right, those who truly try to control, dominate, and govern someone else, that they cannot govern themselves. For
Right.
if they do, they would never do it in the first place. That is your catch 22 of the 22s.
Right.
Um, so when we're taking a look, and this is why it is imperative that we have a choice, a chance, and of our own free will to take a look at this. But if we don't know, if we're not aware that there's other options, you know why? Because many of us that venture into this spiritual aspect, raising consciousness, all of that, many of us are very quiet about it. We're not these big, huge political figures on the scene. We're not. Why? But right now, is this like the 11th hour and the 59th minute? I'm not doing this in order for, okay, well, we have the elections coming up. No, but I would like to put some questions out there and just get people to actually be able to um, actually think, actually use reasoning or logic. And I'm sorry, but that's my brother in the background that is interrupting us at this point in time. So I apologize. Um, but this is something that is really near and dear to my heart because I really will always stand for somebody's free will, their expression, and how they choose to have those experiences in their life because those experiences can be some of our greatest teachers.
Right.
So who am I and who are you to deny anyone of that? So maybe you'd like to become a millionaire. Go for it. Are we going to stand before you and say, no, you can't do this? Wow. Like, where's the logic in that?
I know. Basically, what it comes down to, and it's to me, it's very, very simple. If you believe in free will, you're not going to impose a law to take away another's.
Freedom, period.
Because if you
take off the will and just freedom.
Right.
Freedom for anything. So if you have the freedom, you're choosing freedom not to get a shot. Well, then how can you not stand for the people who are looking and seeking and saying, doesn't mean I'm going to have one, but I'd like the choice if it ever came up.
Right. Right.
So I mean, seriously,
I know, but as I was saying,
where's the love?
I know. If you believe in free will and you impose a law to take away another person's free will, then you don't support free will. You support control over another person's
governance
free will. So you have a superiority control issue. You want to control what other people say and do. And if it doesn't coordinate with what you want, then you're going against a belief system. Therefore, I have to stomp on your free will.
Or create an argument or a fight and literally mandate, well, here, guess what? This is my belief. So if you don't believe the way I do, we're just going to, kick you off the island.
Well, it's kind of like this. I believe everybody should have got vaccinated, and I believe everybody should have worn a mask. But I don't believe it should have been mandated, made into law with penalties if you didn't cooperate.
Yep.
Okay? I believe that people should have been allowed the freedom to choose. Just like with what we're talking about, the right to abortion. People should have the right to choose. Now, you can't take one side and say, I get the right to choose to wear a mask. I get the right to get a shot if I want or don't want to. But women do not have the right to choose if they want an abortion or not. You don't get to go both sides.
One way, that's being a hypocrite. You can only stand on one position because it serves you.
Right.
It serves you because what you do to one person, you have also done to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's a law.
We have the right to bear arms. Mm-hmm. Okay? We have the right to bear arms. Don't impose upon my right to buy a firearm, but women can't have a baby.
Right.
I mean, women have to have a baby.
Exactly. And this is that bigger discussion that comes forward that we're just trying to present.
Right.
And we're not saying, okay, no, you can't have a gun. And no, we're not coming after your guns. Or yes, we are coming after your guns. It's like this is, again, we're going to be looking at liberty, tranquility.
Exactly.
This is that middle ground that Christ spoke about. What is it? Neutrality? Is it being in the middle? Oh, by the way, don't you know? Oh, you have to pick a side. Well, I have. It's in the middle. The middle is a position, by the way. And within the middle comes peace, harmony, balance, tranquility, stillness, silence, love, compassion, tolerance. Oh my. And it's like, so all these people are out there, oh, but we love. Got to give them a voice and a voice. How about the voices of people who are already here? we have feelings, and we have desires of what we'd like to do. And you know what? Believe it or not, intuitively, a woman really does know when she's ready or she can handle a child. Oh, we'll give it up for adoption. That may not be an option. Seriously. I don't care to have my DNA out there and having somebody else care for that kid. I mean, am I for abortion? I had one after I was raped. So I cannot stand here and be a hypocrite and say, oh no, take away a choice. So I will refer you back to what I had said earlier. It's not just pro-life, pro-choice. You got to throw another one in there, and that is pro-birth. And this is where the entire scenario should start getting changed around with. Instead of, when we're all talking about it, it's pro-birth, because that's what they're mandating, a birth. They're not mandating that that child can actually have a life or a life of any consequence. Because for the most part, Paul, how many are going to be born into poverty? Oh, we'll just get them adopted. Well, you know what? Again, I'm going to refer back, and here's something. Okay, I can be a real idiot. Okay, so here's a suggestion that will never take place. Okay, it's just putting a thinking cap on. But everyone that stands for pro-life, okay, which is pro-birth, in my view, okay, all right, my view, and say, okay, from the governor of Texas to every single one that's initiating these laws, you are the first in line that if these laws are absolutely positively enacted, and this goes to the Supreme Court too, each and every one of you gets a kid. You get to be responsible in every capacity. Put your money where your belief is. And that means as one child gets popped out, you get to pay for it all. You get to pay for the hospitalization, the birth. You get to pay for the education, the food, the extracurricular activities, soccer, music, the arts. And guess what? You don't have one single say on how that child is raised. Not one. But the money goes to that parent to cover it, because if you really like to be, and I can be a little bit of an idiot here, why should I have to pay through my taxes to support your belief?
Right.
It's just a question. Would that not be a solution? How many people would jump off ship if they were mandated to take total coverage for the care financially of that child, so it does not rest upon all of us? So does this contribute to the economic decline? Well, I don't know. I'm just asking a question.
Yeah,
but
maybe we ought to write it into the bill and all that. If you're going to mandate that a woman must carry a child, then we're first going to go to married people that don't have a children. They have to take the next available child that's up for adoption. Mandatory. You have to take it. You have no choice. You have no choice. Doesn't matter what your financial situation is. Doesn't matter if you're going to school. Doesn't matter if you're looking for work or whatever the case is.
If that's what your belief is, stand behind it.
Here's the child. Here you go. You get it regardless.
Stand behind it.
You get no choice.
Are these suggestions really ludicrous? Do they sound ludicrous?
Well, it does.
This is how it feels.
Yeah.
And with the energy, this is how ludicrous this entire dialogue sounds.
Yeah.
We've just suggested a couple idiotic ways to really think about it. To mandate, okay, everybody gets vasectomies. I mean, they're talking about, for instance, about regulating medication, right? Okay, well, how about those little blue and yellow pills? Maybe, perhaps, we should ixnay them too. Viagra, Cialis.
Yeah.
I mean, where does it end?
Yeah.
Where does it end? Does a man not have that ability to say, hey, guess what? I'd like to have, little extracurricular activity after dinner, whatever it may be, pop a pill, and, let's all be happy. Okay, well, go for it. I'm not saying you can't, but there comes accountability and responsibility with that. So let's be responsible. Let's have accountability. We're all talking about this love. How do we value love? Hmm. I don't know. That could be a whole nother subject.
Yep. Yep. I know. And like I said, it's a controversial topic. And for the most part, it's a left versus right issue right
Yeah,
now. And
exactly.
nobody's looking at it for the actuality of, the freedom to choose, the free will, the Constitution, and the tranquility and the liberty that you're guaranteed by the Constitution.
Right.
And even our Supreme Court has again decided that the Constitution really does not matter.
Yep.
And again, just to save, for argument's sakes and all that, I do understand the overturning in relation to what it was based upon in relation to the 14th Amendment, and our government not codifying it. It should have been codified. Okay. So I understand the loophole on how they were able to do it. And yet, when you go to just the opening of the Constitution, just by that, we, the people of the United States, ensure domestic tranquility, the blessings of liberty.
Yep.
That right there should be enough to
Yep.
say the overturning
Enough is enough. Yep.
Unconstitutional.
Yep. Enough is enough.
So
even on seriously, go to the very, very first amendment. What is the very first section of that amendment? It's not free speech. It is the religious.
yeah, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion.
You got it. The
Or
very first, very
the
out
free
there.
exercise thereof.
So why it is, and there was some talk about forming a one religion, United States becoming one religion. Oh, even that takes away free will. That is like,
Right.
wow. It's like stepping on this thing, but yet they say they love this country. Do they really?
No, they don't. No, they don't. No. No.
And the thing is, and so again, Paul, this may really be a section to come back and address, because they say they love freedom or they love this country. Well, sometimes actions speak louder than words.
Right.
Sometimes words are become very heavy or empty. And like, seriously, I'm sitting here, it's like, what are people not seeing in a larger scope? If all these things go through and all these mandates take place, religion, really? You're going to mandate how I believe?
To be honest, Shadow Fox, I think they do see it. Okay, I personally think they do see it.
Those running it, yeah. But everybody that's jumping on board, they may never have even thought of it.
Possibly, but I think a lot of them, because even when you bring up logical thought, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to listen to it. And I think it's because they already know it. Okay. When you've done wrong and somebody comes at you, you don't want to hear them tell you that you've done wrong, because you already know you've done wrong. Okay. So you close it down, like, you don't need to tell me, I already know.
Right.
Okay. And people don't like to be shamed.
Exactly.
And people want to be on the winning side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this is what it comes down to. Okay. I think a lot of people know that some of the things they endorse are wrong. They don't want to admit that they're wrong. They want to stay on that winning side. They want to believe that their side is right on so many other things that they can justify this one wrong with it.
Right.
And that's why, again, that's why I'm an independent. I don't pick a side.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I have chosen the free will to choose what I agree with and what I don't agree with, and support what I agree with and support what, and I don't care what side it's on. If it's something that I support it,
Right.
and I don't pick a side. All
Yeah.
right. I'm in the middle.
But, and again, we're also speaking about, triggering, the ego, right? The ego got to be right, got to be on the right side.
Yeah.
So we're triggering, and again, I will say, hey, I'm sorry if I triggered things in people. Um, but I do think that it requires, and in a sense, no, I'm not sorry. What I'm sorry about is if you really have, triggered those emotional components.
We triggered half of our viewing audience. We lost half of them along the way, but I knew we would.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's fine, because so many people, they hear this and they tune it out. They're done. They're so tired of hearing this, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. But for the people who are still here, congratulations, man. You guys won a bouquet.
Thank you. Thank you for the continuing support. We appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly. Because both, Paul and I had sat down and we discussed if we were going, if I was going to, step forward and speak on this topic. We, again, I just thought now's the time to perhaps change the narrative a little bit. Let's give people a little bit of meat, something else to chew on a little bit. Now think about it. Nobody's saying, I'm not here, and neither is Paul, to say, okay, well, we're going to change your belief or anything like that. We're just offering you a couple other ways to think about how can we bring tranquility, how can we bring peace, and the blessings, right? The blessings of liberty to ourselves, to our country. How can we keep that? That's all. And so I came forward, show you another view, another religious or spiritual aspect, and I'll tell you, there's many, many, many people who are truly aware of what I have spoke of. It's like, they're probably half the ones that jump ship too, because they know it. It's like what I'm preaching to a choir. I don't care to preach to anyone, ever.
Right.
Here's the information. Take it or don't, but at least take a look at it.
Exactly. Thank you, T-Paw. I appreciate you sticking with us, brother. I appreciate it. You're talking about changing the narrative. I'm not even going to call them pro-life anymore. And I know you use the term pro-birth. I'm gonna call it pro-no choice or pro-choice. And in the parentheses behind pro-no choice, I'm gonna put in parentheses pro-life, aka pro-life.
Pro-birth, yeah, yeah. And again, it's like the labeling and the messaging behind it.
You're either pro-choice or you're pro-no choice.
Yep, there you go. It's pro-free will or not.
Yep.
I really, like, just be a good neighbor. Like, can't we all just get along? Come on over, I got a barbecue.
Yep.
But Paul, if you have a barbecue and you invite us over, I guarantee I'm not going to tell you how to cook it.
Good, because you just don't step in my kitchen. God damn it, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You're going to get a spatula on your hand, or you're going to get a finger jabbed with a fork.
Oh, we're talking about jabs again. Oh my.
Yes, I will take away your free will from coming into my kitchen.
There you go. There you go. And I'll just be this unwelcome house guest, right? Is that not another way to look at it? How many of you are stepping into somebody's home and being a rude house guest?
I'm going to impose myself upon you, and you have no say, sir.
Yes. So very quickly, just to remind everyone, with the law of free will, it has to do with permissions, accountability, responsibility, karma, that of individual, from an individual to that of nations. We all have the inalienable right, the blessings, if you will, to choose That is what free will is. And so we just cannot inflict, impinge, or mandate that our views, our beliefs, our actions, or our deeds are infringed upon another.
Goes back to the golden rule.
You
Do
got
unto
it.
others as you'd have them do unto you.
You got it.
Exactly.
It's like, so, maybe it's something we can take a look at and just see. These are the checks and balances.
Yes.
Plain and simple.
I
Free
believe
will is the reason why, the law of free will is the reason why we have prayer.
Yep. I believe you should have free will, so don't impede upon my free will.
You got it. And that goes for half of the population in this country.
Yep. Well, it should go for 100% of the population, but only
all of it. But the ones that are being penalized are the women.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it really is old, stale, stagnant energy. I mean, come on. How long have these people really been working on this to make sure that this comes into fruition? Really? How long? 30, 40 years? Oh my.
Longer.
I think that there's a longer, right? Maybe just perhaps we've evolved a little bit, ideas, belief systems do kind of change. They haven't changed. They're stuck. It's stuck. Old. Like I kind of have this view of it. It's like, those old grandpas that are all miserable and got to bitch about everything instead of recognizing, like, wow, I have breath for another day, right? It's that old, stale, stagnant grandpa energy. It's like, whoo, can we just have a breath of fresh air in here?
Yes. Somebody said, list 3 things you are grateful for on Twitter. I think it was Cornelia Blackmore. I can't remember. It may or may not have been. And my response was, I woke up. Those are the 3 things I'm grateful for. I woke up.
So, yeah, I don't know how we are on time here, Paul.
We're right at the peak.
Yeah. So I have, obviously on Spaces, I have hopefully it should be recorded. But in about 20 minutes or so, I'm going to start up the actual space. If anybody would like to care to come in and join, it would be great. I will say this. I am not going to have the space, and it is not a debate. This is not, I'm not going to debate because we already have that, it's already going on back and forth and there is no movement. So, but if you got anyone would like to care to join in and, voice their opinion, that would be okay too, but I'm not debating and I just sit with it, consider it. Sometimes this could be the very first time you've ever heard it. Like, really? When does the soul enter the physical body? Oh my, upon sound? Sound has to happen first. The sound, the cry, the song initiates it, starts it.
Right.
So our light can enter the physical body. Sound, light, matter. It's, very elemental. It doesn't take some rocket scientist to, figure out. Yeah.
And what I find odd is that there's a lot of people that they want to go biblical with it. And it's just like the Bible, first breath. You can go to Exodus 21, 22 through 25, Numbers 5, 11 through 31, Deuteronomy 28, verses 18 and 53, 2 Kings 8, 12, and 15, 16, Jeremiah 44, 7 through 8. All these things talk about are basically pro-choice.
Yeah. And here the thing is that just so that people kind of can give a gauge or a value, is that when I speak, especially when I'm speaking upon these things, I speak upon the laws of energy. And quite honestly, Christ, Jesus Christ, if you're looking at the Christian sector, is that he was a master. He was an absolute master over the laws of energy. That was what he always talked about. It's whether you're actually grasping what he's saying or not. But these are the exact teachings that Christ spoke about. The
Yeah.
middle way. The
Yeah.
middle way. Oh, how difficult can that be?
I know. If Christ were to come back today and all that, there's people that would have him executed for being a socialist hippie. I'm telling you. Anyways, T-Paw's Playground says intense conversations are necessary for growth in most cases, depending upon the scenario, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely, T-Paw.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I know a lot of people and all that. This isn't what they usually get when they come on to the flow. But again, sometimes there's topics that, yes, we need to have the conversation so that there can be some growth.
And tranquility and liberty.
Exactly. You know, and like I said, I'm not trying to step on anybody's beliefs. I'm just saying open yourself up to other perspectives and look at things in a different way, you know.
Changing the narrative.
Yeah, change the narrative. Take a step back and look at things from somebody else's perspective sometimes, you know. And when you do that, you know, just kind of, you know, there's always the scientific method and all that. When you have a belief system, try to prove your system is wrong. Try to prove it. And when you can no longer prove that your system is wrong, you might be onto something. Because I can take any system and prove it right. Okay, I can take any system and prove it right. There's tons of information out there to take my side on whatever it is I want to talk about. But if you truly want to know if you're on the right side of things, try to prove yourself wrong. Because even when I wrote my book, my perspective on things changed because I went in there with an open mind saying, okay, this might be the way I see things, but let's see what it actually is. And I educated myself on a lot of topics and I changed my perspective on a few things.
Yeah.
You know, I even rewrote a section of my book because I was wrong in my analogy and what I thought it to be and found out that there was, something else about it.
Yeah, because it was not in your purview. And this is where, you know, Paul, if, you know, people are going to take a look at something or actually seriously consider some of the points that you or I have made, can take a look at how your belief on one side or the other, it doesn't matter. How does it hold up to the consideration of life? How does it hold up to the consideration of liberty? How does it hold up to the consideration of freedom?
Yep, exactly. All right, Shadow Fox, great show, and thank you everybody that was here. And remember,
thank you guys. Thank you so much for hanging in with us, and I hope to see you on the other side with the flow. Give me a few moments, and I will start another section that is not recorded.
Nice. And remember, be kind, be happy, and make good things come your way. Good day, everybody.
Love and light.